.670 was really a corridor you couldn't really predict how it was going to behave every day. Something ODOT had wanted to fix for a long time.
We had bottlenecks every afternoon and throughout the day as well, especially when there's crashes on site, construction, maintenance. It was really a tough corridor to work with.
So we opened our toolbox and looked at some new techniques to try to solve this problem. And one of those was hard shoulder running. And that was really to use the existing inside shoulder as a lane when we needed it. ODOT did a lot of good work in our officer roadway engineering to go research this concept, look at different locations around the state and see which ones would get the most benefit. That's actually one of the reasons we picked 670. It had the most opportunity for the most improvement.
When we first got the scope basically said we're going to stop the SmartLane basically just past the airport, but not actually go into the 270 interchange. The design team, we looked at it and we did our traffic models, and what we saw very quickly was we don't think it's going to work, because what we were seeing was we were kicking the can down the road, so to speak. So that congestion that you're seeing as you're exiting downtown, we were alleviating that. But what was happening was by the time it got back down to where that SmartLane tapered in, it was back and rippling back through and causing that congestion, that bottleneck.
So even though we were improving capacity on the freeway, we still needed to fix things downstream.
The consultant team at ODOT basically got together and said, what if we punch this lane through the interchange? Once we opened it, we saw it as well, that being able to punch that SmartLane all the way through the corridor and through the interchange provided a significant value. But obviously that came with a cost.
We knew a widening would be over $100 million. So we needed to cut down from there. So we were able to get down to, I think our awarded construction value was in the low 60 millions. So that was really good. That was something we could fund and could get built.
We had a value engineering session. And what we were able to do is, through that exercise, wean this project back down, add the added benefit of the widening through the interchange. So the scope evolved quite a bit there in the first couple months.
I mean, you think about cutting 10% of a project's cost during design, that doesn't happen very often.
With this being a new concept, we definitely had to reach out to a lot of our local partners. The City of Columbus, the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, Central Ohio Transit Authority, all were very interested in what we were doing in this corridor.
We included Columbus early on in the discussions because obviously this corridor is, taking a lot of their people either home from downtown or out to the airport.
And I'm proud to say, with our Public Information Office, the project team on the technical side, the outreach with the emergency services in particular, all of that outreach throughout the project, they delivered on the promises that we made early on in the coordination.
The public was interested in seeing the improvement, but I would say they were skeptical because from their point of view, why not just stripe it? So it really kind of was an education opportunity to say, yeah, certainly we need this in the afternoon, but the rest of the day you want that shoulder for breakdowns, for law enforcement, for maintenance, that kind of thing.
The public information, they did a great job of messaging this, but keeping it simple so that the day it opened, there wasn't this panic. When a green arrow dropped in on that lane the day it opened, it was amazing to me to see how quickly we saw cars moving over because they had been primed leading up through this process. The schedule was lightning fast. I mean, you're talking about an 8-mile improvement project along 670, a full system interchange reconstruction, plus about 4 miles along I-270. You put that all together and it was a design schedule of essentially 9 months.
We got to go in 2016 and we sold the contract in 2018 and then really opened the thing that following fall. Really was developed very quickly in design and then had a very aggressive construction schedule so we could start getting the benefit for the public.
I would say the biggest key to us hitting this schedule was the project team coordination meetings we had. So we met bi-weekly. As I said, we had 8 consulting firms on the team. The difference on this was it wasn't just the design team that got together. Every 2 weeks, we also, with the design team meetings, we invited Toni. When he's listening to the coordination and he's hearing the dialogue, he either can make a decision right then or he can get back to me really quickly, which was something Toni was fantastic at doing.
I was able to be on the call with Brian and all of his different subs and just hear their questions and try to get answers on the fly. That was really good partnering, and I think it saved a lot of time and allowed us to meet our schedule.
By the end of the project, we were actually able to, at various points of the project, give money back to ODOT because we didn't actually need all the budget that we had asked for because of that efficiency. Very, very early in the process, even as far back as the value engineering that we did on this project, we got construction involved.
They had a a very tight time frame for the design work of the project, and they nicely enough handed that down to us in construction.
District 6 construction was reviewing the plans along with the technical staff. Those comments were extremely beneficial.
The partnering that Toni and Brian had mentioned continued through the construction phase.
We were designing it, but traffic operations, they're going to be the one maintaining it. They're going to be the one operating it. So, we need to make sure that we're working with them to give them a system that works.
Our TMC staff was the staff that ultimately operated the SmartLane, opened the shoulder, changed the speed limit, and put information out to OGO.
This is my man Trey. He's the SmartLane operator. Check that out. So cool, this guy. So focused.
We were involved with our ITS group. We coordinated a lot with them about the spacing of the signs. We coordinated with the incident responders on how exactly this is going to work, so we joined a lot of the meetings.
It was to implement a significant amount of technology improvements that ODOT had not done before. So, it was a really cool opportunity, not just for the design team, but to that coordination with ODOT to do something that hadn't been done in the state.
It works incredibly well. Traffic speeds were high throughout PM rush hour, which is a novel concept for 670. Within a matter of a week, we knew, oh, this is going to work.
Toni being in construction, the ITS department, and the TMC all worked really well together and kept communication lines open, which was really the biggest thing.
It was truly groundbreaking, very innovative strategy, and to be able to lead the project team to develop this solution was really exciting.
Been a great opportunity and outcome because of the team we had both at the district and with Burgess and Niple.